This is the Biz of Wealth. Challenges, rumblings, and evolution of the wealth management industry.
Welcome to a new episode of the Biz of Wealth. Today I sat down with Germán Pugliese, who's the co-founder, CMO, and head of alliances of Technisys, a next-gen digital and core banking platform that redefines the customer experience. With technology innovation at the heart of Technisys, Germán and the team empower financial institutions to dynamically create tailored financial products at the speed of commerce, while delivering meaningful recommendations to customers at point of need. The company's unique technology, known as structural flexibility, gives banks and fintechs the agility to tailor offerings that become integral to a customer's lifestyle in new and profound ways. Today, Technisys has a proven track record of helping banks and fintechs such as HSBC, Itaú, Tab Bank, Innovate, Banco Original in Brazil, Brightside in Canada, Banco Falabella in 5 countries, and many others, to deliver exceptional digital experience to more than 100 million banking customers in 16 countries and growing. Germán travels throughout the Americas engaging with banking and fintech executives about how to differentiate with next-gen technologies. He shares his deep expertise with leading news sources such as Forbes, CNN, American Economy, and Latin Finance, and is an active guest speaker at venues such as the University of Pennsylvania's Wharton School of Business, Columbia University, MIT, and at multiple digital banking industry events and conferences globally. Germán completed the Endeavor Leadership Program at Stanford University and holds a Bachelor of Science degrees in Economics at Universidad de Belgrano. Without much further ado, enjoy Germán Pugliese. Germán, welcome to the Business of Wealth. It's great to have you here.
Hi, Alejandra. How are you?
I'm good, and you?
Excellent.
I know Technisys is very well known, but I want to first, give a very quick introduction of what Technisys is about, so that we set the tone for the rest of the conversation.
Yeah, of course. Technisys is the next gen digital and core banking platform that basically redefines the customer experience. And as a best-in-class technology platform, it uniquely delivered differentiation. That's very important for the financial industry these days. And differentiations in 2 ways. One is by empowering financial institutions to dynamically create tailored financial products at the speed of commerce, but at the same time, giving meaningful recommendations to customers at their point of need.
We're going to have a conversation about technology, and a question I always ask my guests is how your parents, describe what you do for a living. I'm sure it's going to be hard for you.
No, it's simple. They say I do something with computers.
That's cute.
That's it.
So, and what is the best compliment you have ever received in your career?
Well, the best compliments is always when someone say that I am a very good soccer player.
Ah, okay.
Yes.
You know that. That's good. Yeah, it's a good Argentinian.
Yeah, but that doesn't come so often. Anyways.
Okay, so going into financial services in general, I know you work with a lot of banks around Latin America too, and I'm sure you have learned a lot about them in the last few years. How do you think financial services will fail in the coming years?
Well, basically, the banks or the financial services, I don't think they will fail, but they would undergo a deep transformation. I usually try to represent this similar to what happened to the music industry. So financial services will be probably more embedded into the customer's journey and doing their day-to-day life. than it was in the past, where you required to go to the bank to do something specific with the bank. So the idea of leveraging technology to help people, to help the customers handle their finances without even noticing, so that's the new, the new environment that we are living. I used to say that people shouldn't care about the mortgage because they want to buy a house. They don't care about the lease because they want to buy a car, or they just want to travel with a credit card. They don't really care. In some cases, most of the cases, I would say, people don't understand what is behind a credit card product or a revolving line of credit, or the rates, the interest rates that they will be paying for those. So it's more like the financial services will be instrumental to people's lives, an integral part of people's lives. And that's the transformation. I don't think, neither financial services, neither banks will fail in the coming years.
Right. So basically, the ones that succeed are the ones that are implementing technology to integrate seamlessly into the users' lives. That's what you're saying?
Yeah, exactly. The key is how our financial service companies, banks and fintechs are going to leverage technology to create innovative business models and new source of revenues. We've seen many companies succeed in this space, like Stripe, Chime, Cross River Bank, and Shopify. All of them, different business model, different approach, but something in common, which is the disruptive approach backed by technology. Leverage new ways of doing business and helping customers in many ways, but always backed or helped by the technology, enabled by the technology. Yeah.
Right. I had a client say, you cannot even talk about being tech savvy anymore after the crisis. It's like everybody, it's on, and everybody that had some lag in the use of technology had to, improve it forcefully, from grandparents to everybody else. So who do you think are the companies that are going to be winners after this crisis? Who are going to be, making it, coming out on the other side much stronger?
Well, we've seen, especially in the fintech space, some winners already. Like I said, Stripe, Chime, Cross River Bank, Shopify. And I think that the pandemic accelerated the change. It's and the change and the transformation, not only on how the financial service companies, the banks, think about the customers, but also how the customers think about their financial service provider. So it has been an acceleration of virtuality, doing everything remotely, everything from home, that at some point it was not something new for most of the people. Of course, that it was new for probably the older generation of the people that is not very well related to technology. But I think that the most of us, we already been comfortable buying on Amazon, taking over. Those big techs have taught the people how to use technology, and I think that this pandemic, what it did was accelerate the pace at which everybody is consuming the technology. So instead of having the alternative of going to an ATM and have some cash and give cash to someone, probably they were more likely to use Zelle or Venmo, or those kind of tools that they can download into their phones. But I think that's the main reason. Of course, those who weren't prepared for this or who weren't initiate the route of transformation, they might be in big pain right now. But I think the most of the companies were already started, and of course those who did, who went faster did better.
And what do you think is still missing in the marketplace? If you had, a magic wand and could make a product appear right now?
I think that the offer out there is very extensive, very wide. We have plenty of fintechs offering different kind of services. We have many banks, selecting their segments more carefully, probably taking the same approach as fintechs, concentrated first on a specific segment and be strong at that. But I think that more and more the space will be something where it's not that one player can have it all, that you have that bank that can offer everything, but it's going to be more a play of the ecosystem, an ecosystem play where there will be many companies offer different services of different parts of the journey that will be combined in different ways to offer the customers what they need at the place they need, at the time they need, exactly. So in terms of what the customer gets after this transformation and after this acceleration by the pandemic, is going to be better than before, for sure.
So I'm interested in that ecosystem that you mentioned. How do you envision that being integrated with different players? Do you envision, I don't know, if you use Amazon, that is the most common example, but still, they build this ecosystem in which you are you're in there and everything goes through Amazon, and they build 100 different other products that work too. But we are talking about one company. When you mention it's an integration of different fintechs or different offerings, or is that the ecosystem you're mentioning, or how do you envision that?
Yes, exactly. It's an ecosystem where many companies are in place for the same for be part of the customer journey, and I would put an example of an account origination or a loan origination where you have the front runner. Let's say the front runner will be who is in the place of need, and at the point of need with the customer. It could be a marketplace, it could be a retailer, but then the customer goes into the process of account opening, account origination. So the ecosystem start playing. The financial service company will need a biometric validation of the customer, So that's one play. Then when the customer did the validation, the origination process always need to check the credit. So the credit company or the credit score company or the new models of social scoring and emerging technologies will make a role there. And then, at the end, whoever is the loan origination or the account origination company will also play a role. And then, when the customer is there and wants to fund the account, he could also use
transfer
any other tool, any money transfer tool that it's out there, any other company. So I may name in a simple, I simplify the process, but in a simple process, we may have like 5 or 6 or more different type of companies interacting, and that's why I talk about the ecosystem. It's a very comprehensive set of services that each of them are having, and it's almost not, I wouldn't say impossible, but it's almost not really beneficial for any of the companies to take the whole process, to do everything by themselves. So that's why I think the ecosystem play will be key in the new financial service space.
What I'm thinking is that is the community ready for that? How are they collaborating? Is it working or not? That's the key here, right? Because there is no single one, player pushing for it. So it has to be a true community effort in that sense.
Yes. Exactly. So the ability of the technology to enable seamless integrations or seamless communications with any player in the ecosystem will be key. And the other important part of the ecosystem is that more and more that ecosystem will be dynamic. Unlike in the past where established companies used to do established things or established businesses and they were there forever, in the future, many companies will come up to the plate and, that integration will be key. So a new player will come and the financial service companies will need to be able to rapidly integrate them into their ecosystem. So that's again, that's part of the new game that almost everyone is playing right now in this world. This dynamic change that has accelerated. So customer needs are dynamically going to change. And new players are going to bring new solutions for those customers. So we will need to be able to integrate those new players into the customer journey as soon as possible. We cannot afford to have, like in the past, a 6, 8, 1 year integration process. Mm-hmm.
Same. Those timeframes now sound like insane.
Yes. Everything changed in 1 year,
Yes. So now that, in events, we talk about how we're going back to, at least for now, they're going to be hybrid events, right? And at least I see it that way in the future. There is not going to be an event happening that doesn't have a virtual component anymore. Taking that into the client experience, we also see examples such as, for example, I remember when Betterment launched, it was exclusively online, and then they, pivoted back into having advisors, live advisors, and now everybody knows that you have Betterment advisors everywhere. How do you envision the combination of human touch and technology, because it's going to be needed, and people are craving human touch more and more, with the support of technology? How do you envision that happening in the future?
Yeah, I think that's when all these digital banking trends started to arise back in 2013, 14, and banks were kind of again debating the need of having physical presence, having branches, etc., etc. There was this idea that the technology can't give the customer the peace of mind of being talking to someone, or we have all of us suffer from at least once those non-attended support processes where we continue to deal with a machine that was asking questions and none of the questions were accurate to the problem that we were trying to solve. Financial services was an industry based on products. So banks used to create the products and deliver the products to the customer, but most of the times, the customers were not taken into consideration when banks created those products. So now we have this ability to, first of all, understand what the customer wants. So customer centricity is key to all this transformation. And then again, enabling technologies that allow to understand customer behaviors better, not just we always put this example of segment. Okay, it's gender. Two men of the same age should consume the same. No, they may have different tastes. They may have different financial realities. Even if both are wealthy persons, one could be divorced, the other one could be married and still having different needs in terms of or different behaviors in terms of what they actually do or how they live their lives. So going back to humanizing or how the technology could replace the humans is, first of all, understand the customer behaviors and create processes and responses that can be dynamically adapted to those changes in behaviors of those new behaviors that the customers are having. Instead of putting a human to interpret what the customer wants, it could be done by technology properly and ahead of time. And I give you an example. We have a customer. We have a person that is going to an appliance store to buy a TV for watching the Super Bowl. So he wants to buy the $8,000 TV, and he has in the account $9,000. So at the point of sale, when swipe the credit card there, instead of it costs $8,000, he has $9,000. So in the regular world, nothing happened. The transaction goes through, and that's it. But in this humanizing of technology that we are talking about, this ability for the financial institution to say, hey, you are buying a TV for $8,000 and you are having $9,000 in the account. However, I'm seeing that next week you are going to have 3 incoming bills for $1,500. So you will not be able to pay for those bills, or you are going to get late on those bills if you buy the TV. So why don't you take this into consideration? We offer you to pay $5,000 now and $3,000 in 10 installments of $300 monthly, so you don't need to default on any of the incoming bills. What would a person feel if that happened? It would feel that exactly the same as if a person, come and say, hey, this is what's going on. Or in your example of betterment, hey, I think that your position could be better if you do this or this or that, with your investments. But what if the technology can proactively do that job? So there's always a balance that we need to take into consideration. Yeah.
They're just getting started on that. I saw that on Chase, right? That, credit cards allow for, to split big payments.
Most of the banks are offering that once it happened.
Right.
Not before. Not at the moment.
Right.
That you are making the expense. They are doing it after. So what I'm talking about here is doing it proactively. Telling the investor before something's going on with the portfolio that he should think about changing the portfolio.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Your kid is about to turn 18 and you need to spend on college. Why don't you, alert them in advance that they need to change the portfolio allocation? Yes.
Exactly. Or I'm seeing that you're leaning towards low risk, investment, but you may, get better results with these alternatives and still keeping the low risk.
Right.
Instead of, just waiting that the customer do everything themselves. We are moving, I think, from the era of self-servicing back to, attended service, but from the technology. We have AI, we have lots of technologies that are already out there, and we can do, amazing things already. The situation is, those who are going to lead that race are those who are starting to think more and more about the customer, what the customer needs.
Thinking about it while you tell me about it, the key is going to be who is able to automate those reactions from technology, but having human psychology in mind. Because if you're at the point of sale and the credit card is telling you, hey, you shouldn't be buying this, and you're like, hey, it's like my mom talking to me right now. Why are they telling me this? So I think that it's a combination of both that's going to require a lot of, big data and a lot of analytics in terms of human behavior too, right?
Yes. I would leave the word automating outside, because automate is something that you do when you have a manual process. And here we are talking about creating a fully digital process. So thinking that you always count on technology for doing something, and you don't have another way to do it. There is no physical or manual way to do something. It's digital and purely digital. We may say digitally native. So if we think about, again, the customer and what we can do for them in the digital in a digital way with technology, enabled by technology, then we are going to see more and more these kind of things. It's like the self-driving cars. It's something that it's already out there. We don't use it because none of us may feel comfortable by having the car, self-driving us to places. But the cars are already there. The technology is already there. Yeah. Even the regular cars come with the option that you can have the car telling you if you are too close, then brake. If you are leaving the lane, let's come back to the lane, or self-parking. And that's out there already. So in the financial services, same thing. Technology is already there. Some of them are applying those, some of them are using those, but again, I think that the key is starting by doing simple things that the people realize are very, very useful for them, and so they can be more comfortable by not having a person always to solve a problem or to do a process. And by the way, the younger generations don't like to talk to people.
No,
that's on the other side. I am not in that group, so I cannot speak for them. But I am seeing more and more that they may not want to have a financial advisor, at all. What this person is telling me if I already know everything.
No, I don't. No, I'm just picking up the phone is something that is always strange to them. Yes.
Yeah, well, of course.
So, okay, let me finish up with this. Tell me something that, almost nobody agrees with you on.
Well, it's hard to think about that, because I like to, I think that most of the topics we were talking about and these things of, that we will live in a world where the machines will understand how we behave and can adapt their services to what we typically do. And I think we are going there. I don't know how long it would take, but we are going there. And it's the same that when we started with internet banking back in 1995, even before the Internet Explorer was popular, so we were going to banks and trying to convince them that they are going to do business with a crowd on internet that was in about 5,000, 10,000 people, internet has 10,000 users, but that's the place where everybody will be one day, so we said it. At some point, we believe it, but we never thought it was going to be every single person on the planet being on internet, right. Or almost everyone. So in the same way, we may think that this kind of personalized interactions enabled by technology will happen sooner than later. And of course, we may differ. And again, we may differ also in the need of having a personal communication with a person. But if you think twice, most of the communications right now are driven through chat.
Yeah.
the writing is already a distant way of communication. At some point in of course in chat, in instant messaging. Now, if you write an article or a book, it's a strong way of communication. But in short, instant messages, it's one step distant to the personal conversation. So, and we are already there.
I know we're off topic, but that's why I see the growth of Clubhouse. Have you seen it? Everybody's there on voice.
Yeah.
I may be old, but I'm like, I don't have time for this. I don't know how people, do it, but I understand the concept of the closeness that it brings, right?
Yes, of course. We've been suffering for almost a year of social distances,
right?
Or even, distances, period. and we don't like it.
No.
That's for sure. So the human interaction is needed. Now, I think it will shift. So human interaction will be there, but it will shift to more meaningful things. Not those that can be.
Not the transactional ones, right?
Yeah, transactional for sure. Not business-wise. Also, if they are very simple and they don't need an interaction, a human interaction. The only thing that I still believe in is in personal relationship and personal trust.
Right.
But that cannot be handled in some businesses. It's very expensive to keep having those. So it's a matter of a balance. Again, there should be a balance where you should enable technology to do things that the people want, that the people like, and then leaving the time of gathering for those cases that really add value to the process. That relationship, create that relationship in person that is needed.
That's the perfect closing. Exactly, summary of what we've been talking about. Leave time for the relationships. Thank you so much, Germán. It was a pleasure talking to you. It was fun and enlightening. So I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you very much, Alejandra, for inviting me, and anytime.